Success can feel distant when the focus stays on results instead of the process. The true shift happens by realizing that consistent actions, clear priorities, and an aligned mindset matter more than bursts of motivation. When you create structure around your goals and make small, strategic choices each day, success stops being a matter of chance. It becomes something you can build, repeat, and sustain step by step with purpose and intention. 1. Wake up with purpose. Each morning does not arrive with fanfare or clamor, but with a quiet invitation, a subtle call to rise, not just from sleep, but into purpose. There is no alarm loud enough to stir your destiny awake if you are not willing to rise with intention. The act of waking is more than physical. It is spiritual, psychological, and deeply personal. As your eyes open to the light, the world does not ask what the day will do for you. It waits for you to decide what you will do for the day. This first fragile moment of awareness is where greatness begins. In that sliver of silence between sleep and action, success is either claimed or surrendered. Will you step forward into that moment, or will you roll away from it, slipping back into the comfort of hesitation? Picture a locomotive beginning its journey. It does not idle until every track is clear, nor does it wait for conditions to be perfect. It begins with a heave, a groan, a thrust of momentum that builds with each inch gained. Likewise, your life will not wait for the ideal day, the perfect mood, or total clarity. It responds only to motion. You must ignite that first spark within yourself. No one will hand you the fire. It must be struck from the flint of your own will. You are not a passive element of this world. You are not debris caught in the storm of circumstance. You are the force itself. You are the storm. You are the wind that bends trees and pushes oceans. Now imagine what would change if you embraced this truth each morning. What if you didn't linger under the covers of worry and indecision? What if you woke up not just on time, but 10 minutes before the sun dared to rise, but to stand in quiet command of your mind? In that stillness before the world stirs, there is space for clarity, space to ask the boldest question of all. What can I build today with my 2 hands and 1 mind? It's a question that doesn't beg for miracles. It calls for action, for grit, for a belief that even small things built consistently can become something grand. Yet how often do we sleep through our own potential? How quickly do we dive into routines without reflection, neglecting the one thing that could change everything? Our mindset? People will spend time preparing meals, outfits, or meetings, but never pause to prepare their thoughts. Morning is not a task. It is a threshold. It is the handshake of life offering you another day to create, to shift, to shape, and it always asks, are you ready? Have you come with strength of spirit? Or are you still standing on the edge waiting for someone to give you permission to begin? There is no permission slip for your life. There is only the door and your willingness to walk through it. Each sunrise is not a guarantee, it is an opportunity, and perhaps the last one you'll ever get to rewrite the story. So rise. Rise not only to meet the sun, but to meet yourself at the edge of possibility. Let your first breath be filled with courage, your first thoughts with conviction, because this day is not a rehearsal. It is your chance, your only chance to shape what lies ahead. And that, if nothing else, is reason enough to begin. 2. Feed your mind before you feed your body. When you rise, before your body has fully stretched into the day, you are already consuming. Not food, not yet, but something subtler and far more powerful. The first thing you take in upon waking often goes unnoticed, yet it sets the tone for everything that follows. Is it silence that greets you? The mind, like fertile soil, makes no distinction between what is planted. It simply grows what it receives. If you plant seeds of worry, you will cultivate anxiety. If you begin with doubt, your confidence will wither, but plant gratitude and peace will quietly take root. Begin with hope, and you will find the strength to endure the unknown. The early hours are not just a time of day, they are a spiritual battleground. They are sacred. They decide more than your schedule. They decide the quality of your inner life. What happens in the first minutes after you open your eyes can either strengthen your will or weaken your resolve. People speak often about breakfast as the most important meal, and while food fuels the body, it is thought that feeds the will. And the will-yielding determinatus, what carries you through the moments when motivation vanishes and doubt appears. Before your lips touch a cup of coffee, let something noble pass through your mind. A quote that steadies you, a goal that pulls you forward, a vision of the person you are building day by day. This is your real nourishment. This is the true breakfast, the meal that sets your emotional posture, your mental alignment. Imagine, just for a moment, starting your day, not in chaos or complaint, but in deliberate silence, standing still, not moving to anyone's rhythm but your own. No voices, No noise, just you and your thoughts, choosing who you will be today. Now picture yourself declaring, I am the architect of today. These 6 words are not a slogan, they are a contract, a decision. You're not a passenger being carried through the hours ahead. You are the builder, the shaper, the one laying bricks with every choice. How different might your actions be if they answered to that statement? Would you speak with more clarity? Walk with greater purpose? Would your small decisions, what you say, how you react, where your focus lands carry more weight? Every morning something enters you before the world even notices you're awake. A thought, a worry, a fear, or perhaps if you're conscious enough, a vision, a promise, a truth. What you allow into your awareness, first thing, has staying power. It lingers, coloring your mood, influencing your tone, shaping your patience and priorities. If your first act is to feed on irritation, the rest of your day will echo with agitation. But if you begin with ideas uplifting, intentional, clear, you give yourself a head start. You create a current that pulls you forward, not one you have to swim against. You are not powerless in this. You are the gatekeeper. Every morning the gate to your mind opens and you decide what comes in. It may seem harmless, but each thought is a seed, and once it settles, it builds a home. And no thought ever lives alone. It invites others like it to move in, to take up space, to rearrange the furniture of your mind. So choose with care. Let your mornings be sacred. Let them belong to vision, not noise, to intention, not reaction. Because how you begin your day is not just a habit, it is a declaration of who you are becoming. 3. Set one clear objective. People often rise with the illusion that busyness is purpose, that motion means progress. But scattered energy, like leaves caught in a windstorm, moves in every direction and arrives nowhere. Without direction, effort becomes diluted, time becomes noise, and soon the day, rich with possibility, dissolves into distractions and unfulfilled intentions. But clarity, true clarity, is strength. It is the unseen blade that cuts through the chaos. It is what allows one person to do in hours what another cannot do in days. A day must have a single aim, one clear intention. Because the mind, despite its vast capacity, cannot strike what it cannot see. Consider the river. Its power lies not in its width or its volume, but in its unwavering course. It does not drift left and right with each whim. It flows forward, always, because it follows a single path, and so must you. If you let your thoughts meander, if you jump from one task to another without anchoring your purpose, you build nothing. A wandering mind stirs sand, not stone, but a focused mind, it builds empires. It does not wonder where to go, it knows. And in that knowing, it becomes unstoppable. It is tempting to wake and pile on Golston things to do, a mountain of ambition, but this dilutes you. You do not need 10 arrows. You need one, drawn back with full intention, released with precision. You need one clear act that, if completed, moves the entire day forward. Not a checklist, but a direction. Something you can name, something you can pursue without apology. Think of a carpenter arriving at a work site without a blueprint. Would a house be built, or would a mess be made? Nails scattered, beams misplaced, effort wasted. The same is true with your life. If you do not enter the morning with a plan, a target, the hours will fall through your fingers like dry sand. But if you grip the day with one firm aim, time will slow down and fall into order. Your energy will stop scattering and begin to gather. Like sun through a magnifying glass, focused intention burns through the fog of hesitation and waste. Imagine waking with a simple but powerful declaration. Today I will complete the first chapter of my book. Or, today I will have the difficult conversation I've delayed for weeks. That statement, clear, honest, directed, becomes your compass. It orients everything. The choices you make, the distractions you resist, the way you carry yourself, everything bows to that intention. And when you finish the day, regardless of all that remained undone, you will stand in quiet victory. You will feel not the emptiness of scattered effort, but the fullness of purpose fulfilled. So ask yourself now, not tomorrow, not later, what one thing, done today, would make you proud by nightfall? What single act would give your day, meaning your energy focus, your hours shape? Can you name it? If not, how will you steer? How will you decide what to say yes to and what to let pass? The truth is, aimless people rarely build anything worth remembering. They follow the day instead of leading it. But those who begin with intention, those who name their aim before the world speaks, they don't just survive the day, they shape it. And over time, those days become lives of direction, of impact, of quiet but unshakable greatness. So choose your aim, name it with courage, and let the rest of the day align itself around that single, immovable point. 4. Speak your intention aloud. Each morning before the world fully wakes, you are given a quiet and powerful opportunity, the chance to speak your day into existence. These first words, often overlooked, are more than sound. They are acts of creation. They are the shaping tools of reality. You are not simply thinking about what might be. You are declaring what will be. And this declaration, made with intention, clarity, and belief, sets the tone not just for your morning, but for your entire path forward. When spoken with certainty, words do more than echo into the air. They ripple through your decisions, your posture, your energy. Life listens, life responds. There is immense power buried within your own voice. Not the voice you use to answer a call or offer a polite reply, but the voice that rises from purpose. The voice that speaks not to others first, but to yourself. When you say aloud, "Today I will move with clarity," or "I will not give in to fear," something inside you realigns. The inner terrain shifts. You are no longer wandering through the day. You are leading it. There is a difference between hoping something will happen and commanding it into motion. The moment you speak your purpose, your focus, your gratitude, you are not just imagining your path, you are laying the bricks beneath your feet. Picture a farmer at the break of dawn, walking the fields with deliberate steps. He stops, looks to the soil, and says, "Here I will grow courage. There I will plant patience. Along this row unshakable faith." This act is not superstition, it is vision. It is an understanding that words spoken with intention prepare the ground, not just in the earth, but in the heart. The harvest that follows is not by accident. It is a result of that daily declaration, that decision to name the good before it exists. Now, place yourself in that same frame. Imagine standing still before your day begins and saying aloud with clarity and power, "Today I will speak with confidence. Today I will act boldly. Today I will not delay." Would the world not hear that? Would you not carry yourself differently into every room, every task, every challenge? When you use your voice to proclaim what will be, hesitation loses its hold. You become the leader of your own momentum. The world may not shift dramatically in response to your voice, but it will notice. It will listen, even if only slightly more closely. Ask yourself honestly, what have you declared today? Have you spoken anything at all? Or have you let silence set the tone? Have you used your voice to bring life into the day? Or have you handed that power over to noise, to doubt, to outside forces? Your voice is not meant only for conversations with others. It is a tool to shape your own experience. It is the command post of your future. And each day you leave it unused, you miss the chance to take the lead. There is a reason you were given a voice, not just to echo others, but to guide yourself, not just to react, but to initiate. So speak. Speak what matters. Speak what must be done. Let the first words of your morning be declarations, not questions. Do not wait for permission or motivation. Create it. With your own breath, name the courage you need. Declare the character you intend to embody. Call your day into alignment with your deepest intent. You are not voiceless. You are not powerless. Every word you speak, especially at the beginning, is a step taken. So speak forward, speak boldly, and let the day follow your command. 5. Remember what you're building. Each action you take is a quiet stroke on the canvas of your life, a brick placed in a structure that either brings you closer to the life you want or walls you into a version you never intended. This is the truth that too many overlook. Not that effort is lacking, but that direction is. The tragedy is not that people fall short of their potential, but that they lose sight of what they were building in the first place. They forget the why, and when the why fades, so does the will. Without a reason to rise, even the strongest hands go limp. Without a vision, even the hardest workers drift. So when the morning finds you, don't just rise out of habit. Don't stumble into the day as if it were handed to you by someone else. Pause, however briefly, and ask yourself with full presence, what am I building? Not just doing, not just finishing, building. Is it a home of peace for your family? A name that will be spoken with respect? A level of skill that speaks for itself? You must ask this, because if you do not remind yourself of the blueprint, you will unknowingly lay bricks for someone else's dream. You will work with diligence and wonder later why the structure feels so unfamiliar. You must reclaim the architect's role each and every day. Think of each word you speak, each task you complete, each small decision you make as material. These are the wood, the stone, the nails of your life's construction. But the question is, have you chosen the design? Are you building a structure that reflects your values, your goals, your truest intentions? Or are you simply stacking blocks with no direction, no foundation, no sense of height or purpose? Picture it. Every morning you step into an invisible construction site your own. Before you are the tools, your attention, your effort, your ability to choose what matters over what is easy. And somewhere in that space is the frame of a structure only you can complete. No one else sees it the way you do. No one else can build it for you. It is yours from the ground up. So what will you raise today? A wall of discipline? A beam of resilience? A doorway of hope? Or will you dig holes with procrastination, scatter your bricks with doubt, and leave the site half-finished yet again? Ask yourself with brutal honesty, if your life were visible like a building and a stranger walked past it, what would they see? Would they stop in admiration, saying, "There stands something real strong, deliberate, rising"? Or would they pause with pity and murmur, "It had promise once, but now the plan is gone"? You owe it to yourself to build with intention, not just ambition. A structure built on scattered will cannot weather the storm. A structure built with purpose stands even when the wind howls. Remember, you are never not building. Whether you mean to or not, whether you see it or not, each day leaves a mark. Each hour either strengthens your foundation or cracks it. So begin again right now with the heart of a builder and the focus of a craftsman. You don't need more time. You need more clarity. Return to the original design. Revisit the purpose that made you begin in the first place. Let each brick you place today be done with care. Let each step forward echo with direction. And when the dust settles and the day is done, may you look back and see something rising steady, strong, unmistakably yours. 6. Reflect on the person you're becoming. Success is often misdefined. We're taught to measure it in trophies, numbers, titles, or applause. But real success is far less visible and far more meaningful. It's not what you do, it's who you become while doing it. Each morning offers a quiet moment of reckoning, a mirror far deeper than the one reflecting your face. Look into it, not for the lines on your skin, but for the shape of your spirit. Ask yourself, who is waking up today? Is this version of me braver than the one who rose yesterday? Wiser, more honest, more kind? These are the true measures of progress. We live in a world that urges us to chase. Chase the position, chase the recognition, chase the reward. But all too often, people arrive at the door of success without the strength to hold it open. They get the thing, but not the character to sustain it. What is money to someone ruled by fear? What is influence to someone without integrity? What is praise to someone hollow inside? A weak foundation cannot bear the weight of lasting success. That foundation is built day by day, in the choices you make when no one is watching. In the stillness of the early hours, before the noise creeps in, there is space to ask the essential questions. What do I need to become today? What inner tool will be required? Maybe it's courage to speak truth, to take a risk, to face something uncomfortable. Maybe it's patience to hold back, to wait, to breathe through the tension. Or perhaps it's disciplinetto do the thing, even when the spark is gone. But asking is not enough. You must also reflect. Did I live that quality yesterday? When it was easier to sit, did I stand? When it was easier to be silent, did I speak? We don't become better people by accident. Growth doesn't sneak up on you. It's carved into your being with intention. Imagine for a moment meeting the version of yourself 5 years from now. They walk into the room, shaped by all the days you're yet to live. Would you smile and shake their hand with pride? Would you admire the strength in their eyes, the peace in their voice, the steadiness in how they carry themselves? Or would you look away, knowing that too many days were lost to comfort, to habit, to avoidance? There's something you must remember. You are not a finished sculpture, nor are you merely a block of stone waiting for someone else to shape you. You are both sculptor and stone. Each morning the chisel is in your hand. You decide what gets carved, what gets refined, what must be chipped away. Every choice is a stroke on the surface of who you are becoming. Every action deepens the grooves of your character or smooths out what's been made rough by fear. So ask not just once, but every morning with sincerity. Am I becoming someone I admire, or am I just surviving, just checking the boxes, just managing to get by? The world doesn't reward effort alone. It notices and elevates those who are transformed by the effort. The person who grows stronger in silence, the one who endures without losing heart, the one who does the work not just for results, but to become someone they can respect. This is your real task. Beyond the lists and the plans and the deadlines, your greatest project is yourself. Every morning, begin again. Carve with care and become someone worth building. 7. Make peace with yesterday. No day truly begins until the residue of yesterday has been washed away. You may rise with the sun, you may dress with purpose, but if you carry the weight of past regrets, you are already bent before you take the first step. The world may offer you a new morning, but if your heart is still anchored to yesterday's failures, then your hands will never be free enough to shape today. Regret is not inherently harmful. In its purest form, it can be a wise teacher. But if you sit in its classroom endlessly, relearning the same lesson without change, then it ceases to teach and begins to chain. Many rise not with intention, but with heaviness. They wake with memories of words they wish they hadn't said, risks they didn't take, moments they mishandled. It sits in their chest like a silent weight. They carry it into every interaction, every task, letting yesterday's shadow stretch into today's light. But time doesn't ask you to carry your mistakes. It asks you to learn, to adjust, and then to move. If your grip is too tight on what's already behind you, how will you hold what's in front of you? So the command is simple, but not easy. Let it go. Not in the sense of ignoring it, pretending it didn't happen, or silencing the lessons. Let it go in the sense of release. Let the lessons settle, but leave the weight behind. You are not the sum of your stumbles. You are the architect of your rebound, the sculptor of your recovery. Every sunrise is a quiet but profound offering. Begin again, not as who you were, but as who you are now, wiser, humbler, more aware. Close your eyes for a moment. Think of something you wish had gone differently, an action you regret, a conversation you'd take back, a moment you missed. Let it rise to the surface. See not to punish yourself, but to acknowledge it. Now open your eyes. The world before you is not shaped by that memory unless you insist on dragging it with you. You are standing not in your past, but in a new hour. And this moment is yours to shape cleanly if you choose. Picture yourself as a craftsman. Yesterday's work was flawed, a line cut too deep, a shape slightly off. But today, a new piece of material lies before you untouched, full of possibility. Will you spend the morning lamenting the imperfection of yesterday's sculpture? Or will you pick up your tools and carve again, this time steadier, more skilled from the very mistake that once frustrated you? Now ask yourself the deeper question, the one that often goes unspoken. What must I forgive to move freely? Sometimes it is another person, a lingering wound that sours the air you breathe. But more often, it's yourself. It's the internal punishment we silently endure for not being more, doing more, getting it right. But success is not forged in constant pressure. It is built in peace, peace with the past, peace with imperfection, peace with the truth that growth is often messy. To move with power, you must first find peace. Not the peace that comes from everything going right, but the peace that comes from releasing what went wrong. This is the starting point. Not perfection, but permission to rise, to begin, to build again. Let the past be your teacher, not your anchor. Let the morning be your canvas, not your courtroom. You are not here to carry old weights. You are here to create new strength. And that begins the moment you let go. 8. Move your body with intention. A sluggish body invites a sluggish mind. When the blood runs still, the spirit sinks with it. Thoughts move like fog, slow and heavy. But awaken the body just a little and everything changes. The air clears, the senses sharpen. Clarity arrives not through waiting, but through movement. Even a modest stretch, a few purposeful steps, can jolt the soul awake. You were not made to lie idle at sunrise. You were made to stir, to rise with strength, to meet the day as a living force, not a passive figure blending into the background of routine. To train the body is to train the self, not merely in form, but in resolve. Each time you move with intention, you assert that you are here, awake, alive. Like a plow breaking tough soil, movement disrupts stagnation, mental, emotional, physical. It doesn't take hours or grand displays of effort. It takes willingness. The act itself speaks. There is a quiet but powerful rhythm that emerges when your limbs are in motion and your breath syncs with your effort. That rhythm becomes a mantra. It hums beneath the surface of your day. It says, I am here to build. I am here to shape. Picture yourself stepping outside while the world still sleeps. The air is crisp, unspoiled. No interruptions, no commentary, just your feet against the earth, your breath rising like smoke in the cool stillness. You walk not for distance, but for declaration. You say your goals out loud. Not to prove them, but to claim them. You repeat your own namanat to remember who you are, but to remind yourself of who you're becoming. In those simple motions, a truth becomes clear. You are alive, capable and far from finished. But this is not the morning ritual of most. Too often, people treat their bodies like weights they're forced to carry. They drag themselves from one obligation to the next, fueled only by deadlines and urgency. They rush when they're late, never when they're inspired. They let the body grow dull and wonder why the mind won't spark. They forget they have strength because they never give it reason to show itself. And yet deep inside, a fire waits ready, restless, just needing a match. Why wait for life to push you? Why sit idle and hope for momentum to arrive? Push yourself, even gently. Shake off the heaviness of stillness. You do not need a gym, a plan, or equipment. You need motion. Movement is its own language. It doesn't ask permission. It declares. When you rise and move even for 10 minutes, you are saying to the world, I am not a spectator. I am a force. You are stating that you choose action, even in its smallest form, over hesitation. You are proving that effort does not require fanfare, only willingness. The most powerful mornings are not those that begin with perfect control, but those that begin with deliberate motion. The first stride, the first stretch, the first breath, these are the opening notes to a day composed with strength. Your body, no matter its shape or story, is not an obstacle. It is a tool, a weapon, a temple. And when you move, you activate not just your muscles, but your will. You rise from idleness into power, from silence into presence. So do not wait to feel ready. Do not wait to feel strong. Move, and readiness will follow. Strength will respond. Let your morning be a statement. Let your body speak before the world does. Let each step remind you, you are not meant to drift, you are meant to drive. 9. Cultivate stillness before the noise. Before the world begins its noise, before it tells you what to fear, what to want, what to chase, you must first claim your silence. Not as an escape, but as a foundation. The quiet that lingers just before dawn is not emptiness. It is power that has not yet been spoken. It is clarity waiting to be named. It is the calm in which you can hear your own voice, uninterrupted. The way you enter your morning will echo through everything that follows. And while many rush to fill it with movement and chatter, success has always belonged to those who begin with stillness. Stillness is not stagnation. It is where movement begins not outward but inward. It is the place where ideas root themselves deep enough to grow tall. It is where vision takes shape before it ever enters action. In that hush, when the world has not yet arrived with its noise and opinions, your thoughts are sharpest. The distractions that dull you haven't woken up yet. There is no competition in the stillness, only you and what matters. Your truest voice is there, waiting to speak. But if you skip the silence, you skip the source. You must return to that place each morning. Return to it before the rush of responsibilities, before the calendar begins, before your name is called by others. Give yourself the gift of one simple moment where you listen not to the world but to the whisper beneath your surface. In that space, you remember who you are. You don't perform. You don't explain. You simply listen. Think of a sculptor standing before a raw slab of stone. They do not rush to strike. They wait. They observe. They study the lines, the shadows, the hidden form within the rock. And in that pause is their mastery. The stillness before the action is not wasted time. It is where the work truly begins. Your silence is no different. You must pause and listen for the person you intend to be that day. Let that guide your movement. Let that shape your choices. Imagine yourself in a chair beside a window before the sun has fully risen. The room is quiet. Your eyes are closed. There is no sound but the rhythm of your breath. You ask yourself, what matters today? And then, you don't rush the answer. You wait. You wait because the answer does not shout, it whispers. It always has, but you must be still long enough to hear it. How often do you take that moment? Or do you leap into the day like someone already behind? Many people wake up and run it toward something, but away from the discomfort of pausing, away from facing themselves. But stillness is not avoidance. It is confrontation of the highest order. It is looking inward before the world distracts you. It is asking the questions that truly matter. What do I value? Who do I want to be when things get hard? What will I stand for today, even when it's inconvenient? Stillness is not laziness. It is the most disciplined state there is. It is strength that does not need to be loud. It is preparation that the world rarely sees, but always feels. The ones who master it move through chaos with clarity. They walk into noise without being shaken. They answer demands without losing themselves. Stillness makes that possible. Before you speak, sit in silence. Before you act, listen inward. Before you meet the world, meet yourself. That quiet moment is not the absence of movement, it is the beginning of it. And from that place, you do not just survive the day. You shape it, you command it, you lead it from the deepest, truest part of who you are. 10. Practice gratitude as a discipline. Gratitude is often mistaken for a fleeting feeling, something that comes and goes depending on the weather of your life. But real gratitude, the kind that transforms you, is not passive. It is a habit, a skill, a muscle that must be worked and shaped daily. It isn't about waiting for perfection or good fortune to arrive. It's about choosing, deliberately, to see what is already here. The most successful people are not those who wait to feel grateful when things go well. They are the ones who cultivate thankfulness even in the midst of discomfort, difficulty, or delay. Because they know a simple truth. What you appreciate expands. What you ignore disappears. Each morning, you must not only wake your body, stretch your limbs, and step into movement. You must also wake your thankfulness. Awaken it like you would a sleeping child, with care, with attention, with presence. Before the demands come rushing in, before the noise begins, gratitude must rise for breath, for life, for the quiet opportunity to begin again. So much of what you have today was once something you dreamed of, prayed for, or couldn't imagine reaching. And now it sits before you, woven into your everyday routine, waiting to be noticed. Imagine gratitude as a candle burning in a dark room. The flame does not cry out for recognition. It does not seek applause. It simply glows. It illuminates the space around it, casting light on what would otherwise remain unseen. Your gratitude must be like that, quiet but powerful, a consistent flame that burns in you before the world even opens its eyes. This light does not depend on circumstance. It is a choice, lit from within. Picture yourself each morning sitting for just 5 minutes. No distractions, no movement, just presence. You say out loud 5 things you are thankful for. The roof that covers you, the food that fuels you, the people who believe in you, your own grit, your ability to endure. What happens to your mind when it begins the day by noticing what's right instead of what's lacking? How do your actions shift when they're rooted in appreciation, not expectation? And yet, how often do we bypass this simple ritual? How often do we let our first thoughts be of complaint, of comparison, of fear about what might go wrong? Gratitude does not deny hardship. It does not pretend that everything is perfect, but it trains your eyes to see what is working, even while you labor to fix what is not. It is not a substitute for ambition, but a foundation for it. When you begin with gratitude, you do not stop striving, but you strive with clearer vision. What you thank today serves you tomorrow. The energy you give to noticing good returns as fuel, as perspective, as peace. The things you ignore, your health, your relationships, your time, slowly slip away. Success, real success, doesn't begin when the external winds arrive. It begins when you recognize what is already within your grasp and decide to honor it. Gratitude turns the ordinary into something rich, something sacred. It is the root from which lasting effort grows. So start there, not with a goal, not with a rush, but with a quiet moment of thanks. Name the good. Call it forward. Let it fill you before the world has a chance to empty you. You do not need a perfect life to be grateful. You need only to pay attention to the gifts already around you, and in doing so, you make space for more to come. Gratitude, practiced daily, does not make your path easier, but it makes you stronger. And that, above all, is where real success begins. 11. Visualize the end from the beginning. Each morning begins with promise, but promise without vision quickly dissolves into distraction. A new day may appear like a blank canvas, but without a picture in mind, you will only smear paint across it. You don't drift through life because time is short, you drift because vision is unclear. To live with purpose, you must begin not with motion, but with meaning. Before you even open your eyes fully to the light of day, you must turn inward and look ahead. What are you aiming toward? What does success look like, not in abstract terms, but in living color? Do not simply rise and move. Rise and see. See the outcome you want to create. Close your eyes and imagine it. The task completed, the challenge overcome, the conversation handled with grace, the effort met with reward. Picture it clearly. Not just what you'll do, but how it will feel. The sense of completion, the pride of discipline, the quiet inner nod that says, yes, I did what I said I would. This isn't wishful thinking. It's mental training. It's the rehearsal of reality before the stage lights ever come on. Think of a captain preparing to sail. They don't lift anchor and hope the winds will carry them somewhere worthwhile. They pull out maps. They study the stars. They know exactly where they're headed before the journey begins. You must treat your day the same way. Don't let it decide itself. Don't hand it over to chance. Design it, Chart it. See where you want to go and determine what winds you'll need to harness to get there. Imagine taking 5 quiet minutes each morning, not to check, not to react, but to declare. You sit, you breathe, you say to yourself, "This is what I will accomplish today. This is what I will feel when it's complete. This is who I am becoming by walking this path." Let your words carve intention into your day. Let them become the framework into which your hours will fit. From that space of clarity, action becomes not random, but directed. Every step you take begins to serve the vision rather than simply burning time. But here's the question you must ask with honesty. Do you live your day by design or by default? Do you see it before it happens, or do you stumble into it blindfolded, letting urgency lead you by the wrist? So many people are not living, they're reacting. They're pulled from task to task, from demand to demand, with no center, no compass, no end in sight. And then they wonder why the hours vanish, why the effort feels empty. You are not meant to drift, you are meant to steer. You have been given not just time, but will, not just motion, but mind. And when the two are aligned, when your actions serve your vision, then each day becomes a building block in something greater. No effort is wasted, no moment feels misplaced. You begin to walk your life with the quiet authority of someone who knows where they're going, even if the path isn't always smooth. So begin each day with vision, not velocity. Don't just move aim. See your future and let it pull you forward. Know what you're building, and let that knowledge shape your decisions. Before the first word is spoken, before the first task is touched, make the unseen clear. Because when you dare to look ahead, you won't just make progress, you'll make meaning. And in the end, that is the true mark of a day well lived. 12. Do the hardest task. First, every day presents you with a mountain. It doesn't announce itself with trumpets or warnings, it simply stands there, tall and unmoving, waiting for you to face it. And this mountain is always steepest in the morning. It is the call you've been avoiding, the project you keep setting aside, the truth you've been afraid to speak. It is the task that makes your stomach tighten just thinking about it, and yet that is the very thing that must be faced first. Success belongs to those who climb early, not because they have more talent, more time, or more comfort with discomfort, but because they choose to rise while others hesitate. Most people spend their mornings circling the base of the mountain. They look up at it, dread in their eyes, searching for an easier path, hoping the slope will somehow shrink if they wait. But mountains do not shrink. Delay does not dissolve the difficulty, it feeds it. It allows the problem to grow in your mind until the fear of facing it becomes heavier than the task itself. But when you confront it head on, something changes. You rise, you gain momentum, you take back control. The very act of doing the hard thing early unlocks a kind of freedom the rest of the day cannot offer on its own. You stop being chased by what you fear and start leading yourself through what must be done. You don't let the day dominate you, you dominate the day. Think of a warrior preparing for battle. They don't wait until the enemy is upon them to sharpen their blade. They do it in the stillness of morning. They rise with purpose, not panic. They rehearse the steps, check their armor, and steady their breath. And when the moment comes, they're ready not because it's easy, but because they prepared before others even woke. This is the mindset you must bring to your day. Your mountain is your battle. Your preparation is your power. Now imagine starting your day not with avoidance, but with courage. You sit down and face what scares you most. You write the letter. You make the decision. You speak the truth that's been sitting on your chest like a stone. And when it's done, there is no ceremonially a profound sense of lightness. A weight lifts. The air clears. You are no longer under the mountain. You are above it. And from that height, every other task feels smaller, more manageable. But what do most people do instead? They shuffle papers, tidy desks, check off the easy things. They move, but not forward. They stay busy to avoid being brave. And at the end of the day, they wonder where the time went, why they still feel burdened, why the thing they feared only grew larger in their absence. You must ask yourself each morning with unflinching honesty, what is my mountain today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. And then ask, will I climb it before breakfast, or will I spend another day pretending it's not there? The strongest step you'll ever take is the first one toward what you've been avoiding. And the hardest task once done has a way of unlocking energy you didn't know you had. Face it first. Rise to it early. Let it become the foundation upon which the rest of your day is built. Because there is no greater clarity than that which comes after courage, and no greater success than the kind earned before the world even stirs. 13. Speak to someone who elevates you. Success is never achieved in isolation. Though it may seem like a solitary path, no journey of growth or accomplishment has ever been walked alone. You are not an island. You are not meant to carry your ambitions in silence or solitude. Each morning, as you prepare to step into the day's demands, take a moment, just a moment, to connect with someone who sharpens you. Someone whose presence strengthens your direction, whose voice reinforces your values, whose words lift instead of drain. It doesn't need to be long or elaborate. A brief conversation, a shared thought, a few exchanged sentences with someone who believes in the version of you that you are striving to become. The most powerful minds are not merely the most intelligent or informed, they are the most connected. The minds that grow, evolve, and leave an imprint are those that open themselves to challenge, to encouragement, to conversation that stretches rather than soothes. Reading, studying, reflecting, these are vital, yes, but they are not enough. Your thoughts must meet resistance and refinement. They must be sparked by other minds. A single voice, offering truth or belief or challenge, can shift the momentum of your entire day. That's the power of purposeful connection. Consider the work of a blacksmith. The fire alone does not shape the metal. The hammer cannot act without the steady surface of the anvil. The strike, the contact, the repeated collision between two elements, that is what creates form, strength, purpose, and so it is with people. You cannot become sharper in isolation. You need contact. Not just with anyone, but with the right ones. Those who forge, not flatter. Those who remind you who you are when you forget. Those who push your thinking without trying to control it. Imagine beginning your morning by calling someone who respects your path enough to challenge it. Someone who listens, reflects, questions not to tear you down, but to help you build. Imagine being reminded of your mission before the noise of the world tells you to abandon it. Picture the clarity that would arise, the strength that would settle in your spine, the direction that would sharpen with each word exchanged. Wouldn't your thinking rise to meet the moment? Wouldn't your actions, guided by that clarity, carry more weight? But how often do you actually do this? How often do you intentionally choose to speak to someone who strengthens you before the world pulls you in every direction? Who are you giving access to your mind in the earliest moments of the day? And how do their words shape the ones you speak to yourself? You must protect that space. Choose voices that stretch your vision, not shrink it. Surround yourself not with echo chambers, where your ideas bounce unchallenged, but with soul forgers, people who hold you to your highest potential without ever demanding perfection. People who see the fire in you and help you direct it. The mind is like iron, strong, capable, full of potential, but it sharpens only when struck, not by chaos or noise, but by another mind of equal purpose. That is what gives your thoughts edge and your actions precision. So each morning seek connection, not out of habit, but with intention. Let your words and your company be chosen with care. You are shaping not just your day, but your character. And who you speak with while the day is still quiet might determine the voice that guides you when it gets loud. Let it be a voice that builds. Let it be a strike that sharpens. Let it be the contact that forges strength. 14. Read something that shapes thought. Before anything is built with the hands, it is first built in the mind. And the most powerful tool for shaping thought is the written word. Each morning, long before the world makes its demands, your thoughts are looking for a path. They wait for direction, for clarity, for something steady to hold on to. Left unattended, they wander. They scatter. They become vulnerable to noise, assumption, and fear. But when you turn to words that have endured, words that were crafted by thinkers, seekers, and visionaries, you give your thoughts not only form but purpose. Books, essays, scriptures, they are not entertainment in these moments. They are architecture for the soul. They whisper truths before the world has the chance to shout its distractions. Reading in the morning is not about consumption, it is about calibration. You read not to gather facts, but to shape your inner framework. Even 10 minutes with a powerful idea can guide the next 10 hours with surprising precision. It could be a line that strengthens your resolve, a paragraph that humbles your ego, or a single sentence that reorients your entire mindset. These are not small things. They are seeds. And the mind, like a garden, does not choose what grouse it grows what it's given. So ask yourself, what are you planting today? What ideas are you watering? What thoughts are you allowing to take root? When you read, you are choosing the crops of your inner world. You are also pulling weeds, limiting beliefs, false narratives, stale assumptions. Every page turned is a decision about who you are becoming. Imagine this. It's early. The house is quiet. You sit near the window or beside the fire and open a book, not because you have to, but because you understand what it does to your mind. You read a page written by someone who lived a century ago. Their voice, their insight, their hard-earned truth now passes into you. Suddenly you are not starting your day alone. You are accompanied by a mind that once challenged the world and still speaks through time. That moment changes you. It roots you deeper than the surface-level chatter you're about to encounter. It reminds you of what matters, of what's real, of what endures. But how often do you reach for that kind of nourishment? How often do you begin your day with wisdom rather than noise? The question is not whether you're thinking, it's who or what is shaping those thoughts. Did you read something meaningful today? Or did you wait for someone else to tell you what to think, what to fear, what to chase? A person who reads with purpose in the morning becomes difficult to deceive, hard to discourage, and nearly impossible to derail. They carry something more than opinion. They carry insight. They walk into the day with a sense of perspective that cannot be shaken by momentary frustration or passing trends. They have stood in the minds of giants and brought back light. You do not need hours, you need intention. A single page, a single idea. That's enough to begin the day with integrity, because what you feed grows. And when you feed your mind truth, your actions begin to reflect it. When you nourish your thoughts with wisdom, your choices gain weight, your conversations become deeper, your vision sharpens. So feed your mind first. Feed it deliberately. Let the first words you absorb come from a source that lifts you. Begin your day not just with movement, but with meaning. Before the world tells you what to think, choose what to believe. Let the written word become your compass. Let it point you, daily, toward the person you were meant to become. 15. Act before you feel ready. Readiness is one of the mind's oldest illusions. It drapes itself in logic and caution, whispering softly that you should wait. Wait until you're more prepared, until you feel more confident, until every unknown is known. It promises a better moment, a more perfect hour, but that moment rarely arrives, and the hour never strikes. Those who wait for certainty find themselves circling the same starting line day after day. But those who succeed, those who build, create, lead, they know a truth that changes everything. Readiness is not a requirement, it is a result. Action creates readiness. Confidence follows motion, not the other way around. The ones who rise are not always the most skilled or informed. They are the ones who begin before they feel ready. They act with what they have and let the road teach them what they need next. If you insist on having all the answers before you move, you'll spend your life asking questions with no response. Look to the farmer. The soil never offers a perfect forecast. The sky doesn't guarantee ideal weather. But the farmer does not wait for signs. They plant, they trust, and the season begins to bend around their effort. They shape the yield not by prediction, but by participation. This is how you must meet your life. With faith, not blind hope, but bold, grounded movement. The kind of faith that knows the path will shift and challenges will appear, but still moves forward. Every person you admire, every champion, every creator began in uncertainty. They too had doubt in their chest, hesitation in their gut, but they didn't wait for those feelings to disappear. They stepped forward, and in that motion the fear began to shrink. The unknown began to unfold. Clarity arrived, not as a prerequisite, but as a companion to action. Imagine a challenge you've been postponing, something you've told yourself you'll face when the time is right. You don't have every skill, you don't feel ready, but you begin anyway. You give it 1 hour of undistracted effort. You make one solid decision. You move one step toward what you've been avoiding. By noon, the fear doesn't feel as loud. By evening, you're no longer paralyzed, you're in motion. And motion builds belief. Belief builds momentum. But how often do we let hesitation win? How often do we watch the clock? Not as a guide, but as a bariatric by tick, convincing ourselves that there will be a better time. Fear loves delay. It thrives in your silence and feeds on your waiting. The longer you hold back, the stronger it becomes. And yet, the moment you act, even slightly, its power breaks. Ask yourself honestly, what have I delayed because I told myself I wasn't ready? What opportunities have I let drift by because I feared I'd fail, or look foolish, or not measure up? And more importantly, what might unfold if I moved anyway? You don't need to be certain, you need to be willing. Willing to step before you see the full staircase, willing to stumble and to learn from it, willing to show up as you are, not as some imagined future version of yourself. The process will shape you, not the preparation. You will grow into the strength required, not arrive with it prepackaged. So stop waiting for the ideal beginning. Begin, and the ideal will find you. Action is your teacher. The The road is the classroom. Progress is the lesson. And the courage to begin that is the only entrance fee. So begin. 16. Refuse to complain. Complaining is a quiet surrender disguised as expression. It may feel like release, but in truth it binds you tighter to the very thing you claim to hate. Each time you speak your dissatisfaction without intention to act, you deepen its roots. You rehearse failure, not just in thought, but in voice, and the mind listens. Over time, it begins to believe what you repeat. It starts to shape your identity around helplessness, around obstacles, around blame. Complaining does not vent. Pressure it generates more. It hands your power over to the problem and leaves the solution stranded in silence. The first words you speak in the morning are not just sounds, they are commands, signals. They either raise your spirit or weigh it down. You must treat your language like a guard at the gate of your mind. You wouldn't allow just anyone to walk into your home. You shouldn't allow just any word to take root in your thinking. What you say, you strengthen. If you speak of your burdens, you build them bigger. If you declare your purpose, you light the road ahead. There's a common habit among people to bond through complaint. Conversations often begin with grumbling about the weather, the workload, the weight of responsibility. It's easy, it's familiar, and yet it is toxic. When people gather and trade miseries like playing cards, they create a fellowship of stagnation. There is no growth in pity. There is no forward motion in mutual blame. What if instead you connected over ideas, over resilience, over the belief that better is not just possible but within reach? Picture a different kind of morning. One where you wake up not muttering about the hours ahead, but naming what you intend to carry. Strength, patience, discipline. You speak not of what's lacking, but what's being built. Instead of "I have to get through this," you say, "I get to build something today." That one shift in vocabulary is not cosmetic, it is chemical. It changes your posture, your tone, your decisions. Energy follows language. Speak defeat, and your steps will drag. Speak strength, and they will drive forward. But take a moment to reflect. How often do you begin the day from a place of complaint? How many mornings start with, "I'm tired," "There's too much to do," or "I just want this week to be over"? These words may seem harmless, even honest, but they are seeds. And seeds do not care whether they are weeds or wildflowers. They grow what they're given. A single complaint repeated daily becomes a mindset, and that mindset becomes a lens that distorts everything you see. Your language reveals your loyalty. Are you loyal to your limitations or to your growth? Refusing to complain is not denial. It's not pretending everything is perfect. It's deciding that your focus belongs to the solution. It's choosing to aim your energy toward action instead of reinforcing inertia. You can acknowledge a problem without giving it your microphone. You can feel pressure without caving to despair. So speak with intention. Start your day with language that lifts, not language that leaks. Let your words carve a path through the fog. Say what you want to see. Speak of the effort you will give, the courage you will summon, the clarity you will hold. Speak it not for others, but for yourself, because your mind is always listening, always learning how to interpret the world based on the words you choose. Refuse to let complaint write the story of your day. Write it with strength. Write it with resolve. Write it with words that point forward. Because the voice you use to shape your morning often becomes the voice that shapes your life. 17. Rehearse success in your mind. Before any meaningful achievement, before any real breakthrough, there must first be vision. Not vague desire, not passive hope, but a clear, practiced image of victory in the mind. Success never surprises those who are truly prepared. It may stir emotion, but it does not shock, because they have already seen it again and again in the theater of their own mind. They've lived the moment before the world delivered it. And so, when it arrives, it is not unfamiliar. It is not foreign. It is confirmation. Your imagination is not some idle amusement. It is not a playground for fantasies you'll never pursue. It is a battlefield. It is the place where beliefs are built and tested, where your sense of what is possible is either shaped or shattered. And most people misuse it. They feed it fear, they rehearse failure, they entertain doubts as if those doubts are inevitable truths. But that same space, if used intentionally, becomes the forge of greatness. It becomes the arena where confidence is cultivated, where outcomes are written in the language of conviction. Visualize this: an actor stepping into rehearsal. They do not merely read lines. They embody them. They repeat them until they disappear into muscle memory, until the words, the posture, the tonal become second nature. When the stage lights rise, they don't perform from panic, they perform from practice. That is how you must approach your challenges. Rehearse your life. the way a performer prepares for opening night, your conversation, your speech, your leap into risk, your climb through fear. See it again and again until your nerves bow to your will. Picture yourself in the quiet of morning. The world is still. You sit alone, eyes closed. In that silence, you walk through the moment ahead, not from fear but from focus. You see yourself entering the room. You feel the weight of the moment, and your spine stays straight. You speak, and your voice is clear. You feel the end before it begins, the pride, the stillness, the sense of something done well. When the time finally comes, your body remembers. Your mind recognizes the scene. It is no longer uncharted ground. It is home. But now ask yourself, how often do you rehearse failure instead? How often do you imagine things going wrong? The misstep, the rejection, the awkward silence, and then wonder why you hesitate when the real moment arrives. You've already practiced fear. You've already written the scene to fail. The mind does not care what you feed it. It will believe whatever you repeat. So why rehearse defeat? There is a better question. What if I used my mind to train for greatness instead of bracing for disaster? What if every morning became a dress rehearsal for the best version of your life? What if you trained your imagination not to shrink in anticipation, but to expand in preparation? You become what you practice. You embody what you repeat. This is not mysticism, it is neurobiology. The brain records your visions and your emotions and builds patterns from them. So build with purpose. Let your imagination be the tool that sharpens your courage. Let it guide your steps before the world has a chance to throw doubt at them. See the victory first, not to avoid the work, but to empower it. Walk through the fire in your mind until the flames outside can no longer scare you. You are rehearsing something every day, whether you mean to or not. Make it strength, make it clarity, make it the future you are willing to build. Because when the moment comes, you won't have to wonder who you are. You'll already know. 18. Create before you consume. You are not just a receiver of the day, you are a maker of it. Before the noise, before the demands, before the world hands you its expectations, you hold the quiet power to shape something of your own. Each morning, you are given a blank page, not just of time, but of possibility. What you do in that early space says everything about how you will move through the hours ahead. Will you begin by responding or by creating? Will you wait for the world to tell you who to be, or will you decide for yourself? There is something sacred in the act of making. It doesn't have to be grand. A sentence written in a notebook, a rough sketch of an idea, a vision scribbled in haste. These are not small things. They are declarations. Each act of creation, no matter how simple, is a reminder. I am not here only to absorb. I am here to contribute. When you begin your day by shaping something, you align your mind not with passivity, but with agency. You choose motion over stagnation, originality over repetition. In the first hour of the day, the mind is untouched. It is pure in a way that it will not be again. It is a clear pool, unclouded by opinions or requests. This moment is not for reaction, it is for invention. If the first thing you do is consume, you begin on someone else's terms. You enter the stream already downstream. But when you create first, you plant your own flag. You tell the day, this is who I am. This is what I make. This is where I begin. Think of the painter who wakes early and makes a single stroke on their canvas before anyone else stirs. That stroke might seem meaningless on its own, but carried across days, it forms something beautiful. That's how masterpieces are built, not in fits of inspiration, but in small, consistent acts of creation. One line, one mark, one movement, and suddenly over time something whole emerges. Now picture yourself doing the same. One line written in a journal, one idea outlined on paper, one sketch of a solution. These aren't just tasks, they're evidence. Proof that you are awake, alive, and contributing. That you don't wait to be given meaning, you create it. And in doing so, you step into your power, not by declaration, but by demonstration. But what happens instead? For many, the first instinct is to reach for noise, to distract, to consume. The world offers so much so quickly, and it's easy to be pulled into it before you've even found your footing. But distraction doesn't make you feel alive, it only makes you feel busy. There's no fulfillment in absorbing someone else's day before you've begun your own. Creation isn't about talent, it's about intention. It's about choosing to speak instead of only listening, to build something, however small, instead of simply spectating. It's about thinking your own thoughts before echoing someone else's be. It's not about becoming an artist, it's about becoming awake to your own influence. You have something to offer, not later, not once you're ready, but now, in the quiet, before the world arrives. Let that offering be your beginning. Let it be the way you root yourself before the winds of distraction and demand arrive. Because when you create first, you don't just start the day, you shape it. So rise and make. Put something new into the world, even if it's just one honest sentence. You are not here to passively drift through someone else's current. You are here to carve your own